Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Ziggy's Rants. And today I've got a special guest, Conservative MSP, Murdo Fraser. Good afternoon, how are you?
Good afternoon, Mark. I'm fine. I've had a very interesting day so far.
It has. Now, we'll just discuss that about what's gone on and what's happened. Now, obviously at 8:30 this morning, the SNP had a meeting, the cabinet, and they ended the BUTE House agreement. What do you think is behind this? Why do you think all of a sudden, after yesterday making statements of how strong the alliance was and how well it was going, what do you think changed overnight?
Well, it is an extraordinary shift in position from Humza Yousaf, who just 48 hours ago was telling us that the BUTE House agreement was worth its weight in gold. And then last night, it seems, took a decision, it was time to end it. But the reality is he operated from a position of weakness, not strength, because we know that there has been concern within the Green Party over some time about the future of the BUTE House agreement. We know that Green Party activists, very angry about the direction of Scottish Government policy, ditching the climate change targets, the response to the CAST review, the ban on use of puberty blockers on young people with gender dysphoria. The Greens were very unhappy. There was a real risk that the Green Party itself would pull out of the coalition. And Humza Yousaf clearly felt he couldn't allow that to happen. It would make him look even weaker if the coalition broke up at the instance of his junior partners. And he felt he had to act proactively. It's a bit like, if you might remember at school, your mate would say to his girlfriend, I've dumped you, and the girlfriend would say, "Well, I dumped you first." It's a bit like that scenario that Humza's got himself in. But
from his backbenchers, do you not think he was?
Yeah, there's no doubt. So what we've seen over the past few weeks is increasing agitation from SNP backbenchers. We've seen a number of votes where they've rebelled in. We've seen concern over things like the ban on wood-burning stoves. We saw just on Tuesday this week a backbench rebellion on the criminal justice bill, quite substantial backbench rebellion. We've seen a number of SNP backbenchers, Ivan McKee, Christine Graham, coming out explicitly and saying the BUTE House agreement comes to an end. Fergus Ewing's been making that case over a long period of time. So the pressure's been building up within the SNP, and there's resentment amongst SNP MSPs who feel that their government and their party agenda is being damaged by its association with what they see as the extremist Green Party. So there was internal pressure, but also I think the inevitability that the Greens themselves would pull the plug meant that Humza really was left with no alternative but to act. But as I say, doing it from a position of weakness, not a position of strength.
Well, today in Parliament, you've the Conservatives have set up a vote of no confidence in Humza, and I believe Labour are going to back this as well. Do you think we will see a Holyrood election this year?
Well, that, of course, is subject to a number of different factors. So we have submitted a motion of no confidence. We would expect that to be heard in Parliament the next sitting day, which is Tuesday. For that motion to be carried, we would need a majority. And if we assume that every SNP MSP votes against that motion, we would need all the Conservatives, which we have, all Labour, which we have, the Lib Dems, who I expect would join us, but also all the Greens, and we don't quite know where they are on it, but also Ash Regan, who is the only ALBA.
I don't know if you've seen Alex Salmonds' post.
I haven't yet, no.
He said he believes that Ash Regan will do the right thing. Now, what do you think that means? Do you think that means she will vote with Humza, or do you think he wants her to vote against Humza?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? So I think Ash Regan's actually in a very strong position here because she could actually save the government. Now, if I were Ash Regan, I would be going to Humza Yousaf with a list of demands and saying, this is what I want. And, ditch the Hate Crime Act, ditch the gender agenda, properly respond to the caste review, ditch gender reform, all the issues that she and Alba have been campaigning on. You can see her arguing for that. But it would be very odd at the end of the day, for an opposition party not to support a vote of no confidence in the government. Because clearly, supporters of Alba, in the main, were people who were in the SNP and have left them because they're so angry and disappointed with the SNP. So I think supporters of Alba, members of Alba, I would expect, would be motivated to say, we need to bring down Humza Yousaf.
Because the Greens are very interesting, aren't they? Because the anger they are showing today and what they've been saying, I wonder whether Harvey and Slater and Greer, whether they will actually. Do you think they're going to abstain, or do you think they will vote? What do you think with the Greens? Because they're hard to read at the moment, aren't they? With the anger, what they've got from today.
Yeah. So if you look at the rhetoric we've heard this morning from the Greens, they are very angry at being dumped from the coalition. I'm sure Patrick Harvey and Lorna Slater are very angry at losing their ministerial salaries and their ministerial positions and their ministerial cars and the influence on the government. So understandably, they're angry. Whether that will lead them to vote to bring down the government, knowing that could well lead to an election, I think is a different issue. Because let's remember, the Greens are sustained in their parliamentary position by people who, in the main, vote SNP on the constituency and then vote Green on the regional list. Now, if the Greens bring down the SNP government, there's no guarantee that people who are first and foremost SNP supporters will in future also want to support them on the regional list. So the consequence could be Green MSPs losing their seats as a result and losing their livelihoods. And so I don't know where the Greens are on this, and I think that would be very interesting to try and understand that. I think that will become obvious over the next few hours or the next day or two. But given the rhetoric we've heard from Patrick Harvey, we heard that at the First Minister's questions today, and the vitriol against Humza Yousaf and the SNP, they'd be pretty lily-livered not now to support a vote of no confidence.
Yeah, it'd be quite a thing if they've what they've been saying to then. Because I believe they'll abstain. I think they'll just not. They'll not vote. In my opinion. Do you think the vote will be very close? It's going to be close, isn't it? The vote.
Yeah. So as I say, the SNP have got 63 votes. If every member of the opposition votes with us on the motion of no confidence, that's 65 votes. So if Ash Regan moves and backs the SNP, that's 64-64, comes down to the casting vote of the presiding officer. By convention, she votes with the status quo, which would mean that the motion would be defeated.
Yeah.
So it only takes Ash Regan to move and vote to support the SNP, and the SNP government is saved. Or indeed, as you say, Mark, if the Greens abstain, that has the same effect. That saves the SNP government.
Yeah. I do think, though, and I don't know if you get this feeling, but I do think Humza's time is coming to an end.
I think
it's not now. I think after the general election, where, in my opinion, and the bookie's opinion, apparently, they will lose between 30 and 35 seats. I do think his time is up. Whether it's now or whether it's after the general election, because there'll be another vote of no confidence in him, won't there? I would imagine.
Yeah. So I think the pressure on Humza will come if he survives this vote of no confidence. And my betting probably at the moment is he will survive it, because either Ash Regan or the Greens will come to his rescue. If he survives it, the next big test is the general election. As you say, Mark, I think the SNP are in for hiding. I think they're going to lose seats all over the place. I think they'll lose seats to Labour. I think they'll lose seats to us. Yeah. I think they could even lose a couple of seats to the Lib Dems. So I think they're in really, quite serious trouble. And then the pressure on Humza Yousaf comes internally from within the SNP. And there's no doubt there are people like Stephen Flynn who are circling around like sharks, waiting for an opportunity to replace him.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I know you're a very busy man, especially today. So I do thank you for giving me the time to speak to me today, and yeah, good luck with that vote of no confidence.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. We think it'll be called on Tuesday, but as they say, watch this space.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Okay, bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye now. So that's that. So that's Murdo Fraser and his on what's been going on today and in the future. So watch out for Tuesday. Please subscribe, thumbs up, and please leave your comments, because I like to listen to and read all your comments about what's been said. And till next time, take care.